Good afternoon. This is All India Radio and I am Valsa Williams with the Midday News. The headlines. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 93.65%. Cumulative testing figure crosses 13 crore 70 lakh mark. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari inaugurates highway projects of more than 7,400 crore rupees in Uttar Pradesh. All arrangements in place for first phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. India and UAE review comprehensive strategic partnership and agree to continue coordination on various multilateral issues. And in cricket, Australia set a target of 375 runs for India in the opening ODI at Sydney. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. With 43,082 new COVID-19 infections, the country's total cases went up to 93,09,788. The Health Ministry said with 492 new deaths, the death toll has gone up to 1,35,715. Total active cases now at 4,55,555. Total discharged cases reached 87,18,517 with 39,379 new discharges in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate has reached 93.65%. Over 11,31,000 samples were tested for COVID in the country in the last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative testing figure has reached 13 crore 70 lakh. The central government and ICMR have scaled up the testing infrastructure in a calibrated manner. The Health Ministry has said that very high levels of testing leads to early identification, prompt isolation and effective treatment of COVID-19 cases. It said this also leads to low fatality rate. Higher volumes of testing have also ensured lower daily positivity rate, which continues to remain below 4%. The country is undertaking almost 5 times the number of daily tests per million of the population as per the standards prescribed by the WHO. In Mizoram, 23 fresh cases of coronavirus infection were detected in the past 24 hours. With this, the total number of COVID-19 positive cases rose to 3,788. The recovery rate has also improved to 89.03%. According to the State Medical Bulletin, the state has also recorded 33 cases of recovery in the past 24 hours. So far, 3,352 infected people have recovered. The number of active cases presently stands at 431. Tripura registered 50 new cases of coronavirus, while 58 patients were discharged from hospitals after recovery from the virus in the past 24 hours. With this, the tally rose to 32,578. In the state, so far, 31,476 people infected with coronavirus have been cured, while the recovery rate has further improved to 96.69%. Presently, 709 infected people are undergoing treatment in different COVID care centres. In Uttarakhand, Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat has clarified that the state government has no plan to impose another lockdown or weekend closure in view of rising COVID-19 cases in the state. Meanwhile, the state government has reduced the price for both RT-PCR and antigen tests. The Secretary of Health, Amit Negi, has issued an order implementing revised prices for RT-PCR and antigen testing with immediate effect, with the aim of curbing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic after the festive season. Antigen testing from accredited private laboratories will cost 679 rupees. Meanwhile, the State Health Department recorded 355 fresh COVID-19 cases in the state. According to a health bulletin released late last evening, 317 people have recovered. The COVID recovery rate is 91.05% in the state. Telangana has reported 761 fresh COVID cases during the past 24 hours. With this, the total COVID cases reported in the state has gone up to 2,67,665. The state conducted over 42,000 tests yesterday. The recovery rate slightly improved to 95.4%, with 702 more people recovering yesterday. This took the number of recovered people so far in the state to 2,55,378. Meanwhile, the daily bulletin issued by the State Medical and Health Department this morning reported a total of 1,448 deaths so far, with 4 more people succumbing to COVID and comorbidities during the past 24 hours. Currently, the state has over 10,000 active cases, out of which over 8,000 are in home isolation. In Karnataka, the pandemic is showing a decline with reduced positivity and fatality rate. It reported 1,505 new cases of COVID-19 and 12 related fatalities yesterday. At the same time, 1,067 patients were discharged after recovery, thereby taking the recovery rate to over 95%. The positivity rate reported yesterday was 1.25% and case fatality rate of 0.79%. More from our correspondent.
The high testing rates and early detection of infections has helped contain the pandemic in the state. Over 1,609,000 tests are conducted in the state till now. Bengaluru urban district with highest positivity and case fatality rate is also showing a decline in number of new cases and deaths. The health department has opened testing camps on roadsides at every nook and corner of Bengaluru city. On an average, over 50,000 tests are conducted every day. The number of deaths in October was 897, which has now come down 233 this month. The case fatality rate was 0.89% last month, and this month it is 0.82%. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
In Puducherry, the downward trend in COVID-19 infection continued, with 16 new cases, the lowest in recent months, being reported today.
According to the COVID-19 status report given by the Health Department, 9 new cases reported from Puducherry, each 1 case from Karaikal and Yanam regions, and 5 cases reported from Maghe region. As many as 46 persons were discharged from hospitals. Presently, 210 persons are being treated in hospitals, and another 304 positive cases are under home isolation. And now the recovery rate stands at 96.95%, and the fatality rate comes down to 1.65%. Chandramohan, AIR News, Puducherry.
In Madhya Pradesh, the clinical trial of the third phase of Corona's Covaxin started today. The clinical trial of Phase 3 of the Indian Council of Medical Research and Bharat Biotech International's Corona vaccine will be conducted in various hospitals in Bhopal.
The vaccine will be administered to the volunteers who are being registered themselves for vaccination. The booster dose of vaccine will be administered after 28 days. The health of each volunteer involved in the trial will be continuously monitored. ICMR has sent 1,000 doses of vaccine which will be administered to the volunteers in the next 10 days. On the other hand, talking to the media, State Home Minister Narottam Mishra said that it is very remarkable achievement that the trial of vaccine is starting from today. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Maharashtra, the Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation has sought reports of COVID tests from the centres in the city. Municipal Commissioner Abhijit Bangar has issued directives in the wake of reports of wrongly incorporating the names of people who have not undergone COVID tests. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Irregularities in the compilation of COVID test reports have surfaced in Navi Mumbai, where people who have not undertaken the test have been marked negative. The names of people have been enlisted in the category under the contact tracing of COVID-positive patient. However, it has come to light that all the members in the family have been shown as tested negative when only one member has undergone the corona test. BJP leader Praveen Darekar, who met the Navi Mumbai Municipal Commissioner, has demanded to conduct an inquiry into the incident, after which it will be ascertained whether the discrepancy happened only at one COVID center or at all the 24 centers in the city. With Swapna Haralkar from Navi Mumbai, Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Gujarat, 5 patients died in a fire that broke out in the ICU of a private COVID hospital in Rajkot late last night. A fire broke out in Uday Shivanand COVID hospital in Mawadi area of Rajkot, where about 33 COVID patients were admitted for treatment. 6 persons have been rescued with burn injuries and admitted to the Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Government Hospital. Other patients have been evacuated from fire and shifted to the nearby hospital. According to fire brigade officials, fire broke out on the second floor of the ICU due to short circuit in the medical equipment. Meanwhile, Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has announced a high-level inquiry into the incident and announced 4 lakh rupees to the kin of each victim. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed deep grief over the loss of lives. He said his thoughts are with those who lost their loved ones in the tragedy and prayed for quick recovery of the injured. Russia's sovereign wealth fund, Russian Direct Investment Fund RDIF, and Indian pharmaceutical company Hetero have agreed to produce over 100 million doses per year in India of the Sputnik V vaccine against COVID-19. According to a statement on the Sputnik V Twitter account, Hetero and the RDIF, which has been backing the vaccine and marketing it globally, plan to start production of Sputnik V in India at the beginning of 2021. The statement said that Phase 2 and 3 trials are ongoing in India. Drug maker Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Limited has said it expects late-stage trials to be completed by as early as March 2021. Dr. Namrata Sharma, professor at the Eye Centre at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, says touching eyes and face unnecessarily is dangerous in the times of COVID-19. Dr. Sharma told AIR News that wearing a mask, washing or sanitizing hands and maintaining 2 gaz ki duri is the only way to fight the coronavirus.
So this is my appeal to the citizens of the country that it is very important that you do frequent sanitization, especially of the hands. Remain masked at most of the time, especially when you are interacting, and maintain social distancing. And it is also very important that you avoid touching your mask as well as your face with your hands. And if you all have to do it, then your hands should be washed.
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Listeners can ask questions to the expert on toll-free telephone number 1-800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 93.65%. Cumulative testing figure crosses 13 crore 70 lakh mark. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari inaugurates highway projects of more than 7,400 crore rupees in Uttar Pradesh. All arrangements in place for first phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. India and UAE review comprehensive strategic partnership and agree to continue coordination on various multilateral issues. And in cricket, Australia set a target of 375 runs for India in the opening ODI at Sydney. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. on Sunday. It will be the 71st episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com. and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, all arrangements are in place for the first phase of District Development Council (DDC) elections to be held tomorrow. In the first phase, voting will take place in 25 constituencies in Kashmir Division and 18 in Jammu Division. The State Election Commissioner, Mr. K.K. Sharma, said elections are being held in 8 phases.
20 जिलों के लिए डिस्ट्रिक्ट डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल चुनी जाएंगी और इन जिलों में जहां जहां पंचायत के सरपंच वैकेंसीज हैं और पंच कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज की वैकेंसीज हैं उनके लिए पंच चुने जाएंगे। ये सारी इलेक्शन 8 फेजेज में हो रही है। इसका पहला फेज उसकी पोलिंग होगी 28 नवंबर को और बाकी फेजेज उसके बाद में है। लास्ट फेज जो है वो 19 दिसंबर को है। इन सभी 8 फेजेज के लिए जो इलेक्शन अरेंजमेंट है वो सारे हमारे जो इलेक्शन स्टाफ है, डीसीज जिनको डिस्ट्रिक्ट इलेक्शन ऑफिसर होते हैं, वो इसके इंतजाम कर चुके हैं।
The State Election Commissioner said the necessary COVID-19 protocols have also been put in place for ensuring the forthcoming elections in a safe environment. Our Jammu correspondent reports that 2,644 polling stations have been set up and voting will take place from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
The DDC elections, the first major political activity since the abrogation of Article 370 provision, will be held in 8 phases from November 28 to December 19. The polling will take place through ballot boxes, while there will be postal ballot for COVID-19 patients or those in isolation, senior citizens and those who are physically unwell. All mainstream political parties including PDP, National Conference, People's Conference and Congress are contesting the polls as a united front against BJP and formed People's Alliance for Gupkar declaration to counter BJP and its alliance in the region while demanding the restoration of pre-August 5 status for J&K. The campaigning for the first phase polls ended on Thursday evening in a peaceful manner. The first phase voting will decide the fate of 1,475 candidates, out of which 296 candidates are contesting in the maiden DDC polls, including 172 from Kashmir Valley and 124 from Jammu region. In the first phase of DDC polls, 18 constituencies will go to poll in Jammu region. Gulshan Rana for AIR News, Jammu.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and his United Arab Emirate counterpart Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan have held discussions on the entire range of bilateral issues. Dr. Jaishankar, who was on a 2-day visit to the UAE, briefed him on the progress made by India in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, both on the health and economic front. Both sides reviewed their cooperation on various facets of their comprehensive strategic partnership, including trade, investment, infrastructure, energy, food security and defense. The two foreign ministers also discussed recent regional and international developments and agreed to continue coordination on various multilateral issues. Dr. Jaishankar also called on Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and conveyed greetings from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his appreciation of the UAE leadership for taking great care of Indians during the COVID-19 pandemic. In his virtual meeting with the representatives of the Indian community in Abu Dhabi, Dr. Jaishankar appreciated the work of the Indian associations in taking care of the community during the COVID pandemic. He assured them of the government's responsiveness on issues pertaining to post-COVID normalcy. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari inaugurated and laid the foundation stones of 16 national highway projects worth 7,477 crore rupees in Uttar Pradesh yesterday. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath was also present at the virtual function. These road projects worth 505 kilometers will enhance better connectivity, convenience and economic growth in the state. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Gadkari said that national highways works worth 2 lakh crore rupees are being undertaken in UP. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla today said recent years have given the Indo-Nepal relationship a new momentum. Delivering the Asian Institute of Diplomacy and International Affairs Distinguished Lecture in Kathmandu, the Foreign Secretary said for India, Nepal is fundamental to its neighbourhood-first approach. He said India's development and modernization are incomplete and intrinsically linked to the development and modernization of neighboring countries like Nepal. Mr. Shringla said India sees itself as Nepal's foremost friend and development partner. He said developmental experiences that the two countries share have proved successful and beneficial. Given the similarities in environmental conditions and socio-economic challenges, there is so much India and Nepal can learn from each other. Foreign Secretary said India's aspiration of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Nepal's goal of Samriddh Nepal, Sukhi Nepali are compatible. Mr. Shringla said enhancing cross-border connectivity and infrastructure projects are also critical. They unlock potential of millions and in millions. He said the spectrum of the bilateral cooperation is all-encompassing. It traverses centuries quite literally. The Foreign Secretary said in his meetings with the President and the Prime Minister of Nepal, the Foreign Minister and his counterpart and other dignitaries and officials, there is no doubt that the two countries are on the same page and share the same vision. The Odisha Assembly witnessed an impasse for the second day today over the murder of a minor girl in Inaugurates district of the state about 4 months ago. The House saw repeated adjournments on both the days, with the opposition demanding the immediate resignation of the State Agriculture Minister Arun Sahu for allegedly shielding the main accused in the minor's murder case. Meanwhile, the Speaker adjourned the House till 3 p.m. after the Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik acceded to the demand of handing over the case to a special investigation team.
The 4-month-old brutal murder of a 5-year-old girl named Pari came to haunt the state government with the self-immolation bid of the girl's parents in front of the state assembly a couple of days ago. Having been clued in by the victim's parents, the opposition has been mounting pressure on the government to remove the state agriculture minister for allegedly giving protection to the chief suspect in the murder case. The state government's handing over of the case to the crime branch of the state police has failed to pacify the frayed tempers of the opposition BJP and Congress, with the former upping its ante against the government both inside and outside the house. They have also been demanding the matter to be investigated into by an SIT under the supervision of the High Court to bring the real culprits to book. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Still with Odisha, the rare Nagarjuna Besha of Lord Jagannath and Lord Balabhadra was held today in the world-famous Sri Jagannath Temple in Puri. The rare ritual of the lords in warrior costumes, which comes after a gap of about 26 years, were performed without the presence of devotees this year due to the ongoing pandemic. As per the ritual, Lord Jagannath and his divine sibling Lord Balabhadra are adorned in golden attire with 16 types of traditional weapons. In an effort to guard against fake news being circulated on various platforms, we bring you our segment on Fact Check and Mythbusters. It is being claimed across certain sections of social and digital media that the central government has notified rules for the Citizenship Amendment Act. The centre has termed this claim as fake and has informed that no such rules exist. It added that no rules under the CAA Act has been notified yet. A MiG-29K trainer aircraft met with an accident over the Arabian Sea last evening. The Navy has said that one pilot has been rescued while search by air and surface units is on for the second pilot. The Navy has informed that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening yesterday in the Arabian Sea. It added that a high-level inquiry has been ordered to investigate the matter. In Tamil Nadu, reports of losses to properties keep pouring in post-cyclone Nivar. Weather experts say it appears to have had a landfall of lesser intensity as compared to earlier predictions. Reports say 3 people died of incidents relating to floods like tree fall and electrocution in the state. About 1,600 hectares of paddy have suffered losses, besides damages to plantain, groundnut and tapioca crops. Nearly 1,100 trees were uprooted and most of them have been cleared. The 77 electric poles that fell due to the fury of the cyclone have been restored by the state DISCOM. However, a few places in Chennai are reeling under flood waters and efforts to evacuate the stagnant waters are on. Several pockets of Andhra Pradesh have been experiencing normal to heavy rainfall in the past 24 hours. The paddy, cotton, horticulture and pulse crops have been either affected or damaged in several districts. The depression over south coastal Andhra Pradesh neighbourhood moved northwards and weakened into a well-marked low-pressure area. Under its influence, light to moderate rainfall is likely at many places, with heavy falls at isolated places over coastal Andhra Pradesh during the next 24 hours. Fishermen are advised not to venture into the west central Bay of Bengal and along and off South Andhra Pradesh coast during the next 12 hours. In order to formalize the registration process of the vintage motor vehicles, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has sought suggestions to amend the Central Motor Vehicle Rules 1989. At present, there are no rules for regulating the registration process of vehicles of heritage value. The draft rules define vintage motor vehicles as all two-wheelers and four-wheelers which are in personal use and are more than 50 years old from the date of their first registration. These include imported vehicles. Objective is to preserve and promote the heritage of old vehicles in India. The draft rules are available on the ministry's website. It will soon be possible for the vehicle owners to appoint a nominee for their vehicles. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has invited suggestions and comments from public and all stakeholders on the proposed amendment to the Central Motor Vehicles Rules 1989 to facilitate the owner of the vehicle for nominating a person in the registration certificate RC. The draft notification has been published by the ministry. Australia set a target of 375 runs for India in the opening ODI of the three-match series at the Sydney Cricket Ground. In reply, India were 53 for 1 in 6 overs when reports last came in. Earlier, Australia won the toss and elected to bat first. AJ Finch was the highest run scorer for Australia with 114 runs off 124 deliveries. Skipper Steve Smith hit a brazy ton of 105 off 66 balls. For India, Mohammad Shami took 3 wickets while Jasprit Bumrah got 1 wicket. Indian team has returned to action after staying away from international cricket for more than 8 months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. India will play 3 ODIs, 3 T20s and 4 tests during their 2-month stay in Australia. The second ODI will be played on November the 29th, the final ODI on December the 2nd in Sydney. The ODIs will be followed by 3 T20Is starting from December the 4th. The Test series will begin with a day-night game at Adelaide from December the 17th, followed by the Boxing Day Test match at Melbourne. Live commentary of the match is being broadcast on FM Rainbow, Rajdhani, PB, YouTube and other channels of All India Radio Delhi. Commentary can be heard alternately in Hindi and English from 8:30 a.m. till the end of the match. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju today felicitated the participants of Fit India Mission 200 Kilometers Walkathon in New Delhi. Participants were awarded with special walkathon medals and certificates. The walkathon, which was first of its kind, was organized by the ITBP in association with the Sports Ministry at Jaisalmer in Rajasthan recently to spread awareness about the Fit India Mission of the Government of India. Mr. Rijiju praised the efforts being undertaken by ITBP for its initiatives towards the Fit India mission and said that the force had been instrumental in spreading the message of keeping India fit. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital will have a mainly clear sky with temperatures varying between 10 and 25 degrees Celsius. In Mumbai, sky will be mainly clear and the temperature will vary between 21 and 33 degrees. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Temperature will hover between 13 and 22 degrees. Kolkata is likely to have a generally cloudy sky. City observed a minimum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and is likely to experience maximum temperature of 26 degrees. Jammu witnessed a minimum temperature of 9 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 23 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky too, becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. Minimum temperature was -2 degrees. Maximum will be around 12. In Leh, sky will be mainly clear, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky, with temperature hovering between 4 degrees to 12 degrees. Muzaffarabad will also have a mainly clear sky. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 93.65%. Cumulative testing figure crosses 13 crore 70 lakh mark. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari inaugurates highway projects of more than 7,400 crore rupees in Uttar Pradesh. All arrangements in place for first phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. India and UAE review comprehensive strategic partnership and agree to continue coordination on various multilateral issues. And in cricket, Australia set a target of 375 runs for India in the opening ODI at Sydney. And with that we end the midday news.